96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. One of the things that we're proud of here at WOCA is that we've been hosting a Veterans News Hour every Thursday for 15 or 16 years, I can't remember. And in the course of those years, we got to meet a young man named Steven. And Steve had been injured severely, head injury, in Afghanistan when the vehicle he was in ran over an explosive device.
Yeah.
What do you call IED?
Yeah.
And the good news is he's alive. He's such a happy guy.
He is.
And I never knew him before the accident or before the attack or whatever you want to call it. And he's just such a delight to be around. And every time I see him, he's doing a lot better than the previous time. When I first met him, his words were very, very slurred, and now he's doing really, really well. And so there are some amazing things that can be done in light of the fact that somebody could be traumatically injured, especially a veteran. Dr. Stuart Hoffman is on the phone. He's the Scientific Program Manager in the Office of Research and Development at the Department of Veterans Affairs. He wants to talk to us about traumatic brain injury and how veterans can be more heavily affected than the rest of us. September is National Traumatic Brain Injury Awareness Month. It's an honor to have you on the show, Dr. Stuart Hoffman. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity to discuss this very important
Yeah, and it is interesting how we have at least one person in our collective lives here at the radio station who we're going to be able to relate to what you're saying because of what he went through.
Yes, brain injury is quite common, as you point out. We all know, most of us know at least one person.
Does it ever get worse without without a secondary injury, or does it always get better without a secondary injury?
Oh, it's complex. You can have one brain injury and one concussion and be fine. That's the majority of the people, and sometimes you get one concussion and you have problems for a long time. But the general rule is you're talking not like the person you mentioned. You're talking about concussion, mild brain injury. It's often the cumulative effect over a lifetime which is the critical aspect that can lead to chronic problems. Or a moderate to severe brain injury can leave you with symptoms that persist. And there are treatments that can help you to recover from a lot of those symptoms of your injury.
And aside from an explosive device, are there other things that might cause it? Could simply playing football cause it, or could having an accident in a car, even if you didn't hit your head on something, could that abrupt stopping cause it?
Oh yeah, those are the more common injuries, especially to our civilian population. The repetitive head injuries, or that rare event in football where someone is severely injured, and the car and motor vehicle accidents, as well as falls, especially in our elderly population, are the common ways that people get brain injury in our population.
Well, talk about the idea that there might be an internal bleed going on simultaneous that is not detected. We've heard stories of that before.
Yes, and typically, especially in civilian TBI, if they suspect a bleed or a bruise, that's classified as a moderate or severe brain injury, and that is diagnosed typically with a CAT scan. There can be bleeds, microbleeds, with mild brain injury, and we're developing diagnostics to help diagnose those conditions with much more certainty now. And I think in the near future we'll have those diagnostics available for clinical use.
And there's And are brain injuries different from the veterans that receive them in the line of duty, or from people that are playing sports or involved in auto accidents?
Glass does have some different aspects than what is normally found in civilian brain injuries, such as caused by contact sports or accidents and falls. Glass can have a much more diffuse injury in the brain that can leave microscopic signatures of the injury. And just like civilian injuries, the repetitive exposure can cause more symptoms to develop over time.
What do you mean by repetitive exposure?
So, like with football, being hit, having
right.
collisions on a weekly basis, that's whether or not they produce symptoms is repetitive exposure, and those injuries accumulate over time, and so they may manifest themselves as headaches, as visual issues. Maybe more behavioral, such as impulsivity, concentration problems, anger issues, and it can even affect the hormones in more severe cases.
So anger issues, that sounds psychological. Does the physical brain also cause us to have psychological issues? And is that why a veteran might have a different experience after a traumatic brain injury than a non-veteran?
Well, it's not just for veterans, and every brain injury is different. So you can't say, okay, you've hit your head, you're going to have behavioral issues. It's not as cut and dry as that. But and when you really get down to it, your brain is involved in all the behaviors that you do, whether it's walking down the street, throwing a ball, reading a newspaper, and even your behavior. So when you injure the brain, there's the potential that it can affect any of those behaviors.
Are there any therapies that you can steer somebody toward that maybe they haven't thought about that might help them, for example, with like daily functions like driving or just doing the dishes or something like that? Are there therapies that you know about that we need to find out about?
There are therapies that are very effective at treating the symptoms of brain injury, and we have active research right up the road from you in Gainesville at the VA there in Gainesville. It's the Brain Rehabilitation Research Center that has a fantastic research program in helping people with a lot of these issues, and it's a research center. So there are ways to dramatically improve the quality of life, but you got to go to a trained medical provider, and if you're a veteran, then the VA is a great place for that.
And how do you help the veterans that have had traumatic brain injury get back into the private sector?
There's a lot of therapies, rehabilitation therapies that can help the veteran to overcome some of their symptoms, and also help them to return into the community with community reintegration programs that they have. There's vocational programs that help them to train, if it's severe enough, to retrain them on other occupations. So that's a great resource for our veterans. And the main thing is, if family members or a veteran suspect that it may be having symptoms of brain injury that is related to their service in the military, that they should go to their local VA and make an appointment to get assessed.
On the website that we were given for this interview, research.va.gov, the one thing I wanted to ask about was the biofeedback, I think it was called. What is that, and how does that work?
I'm not sure, what is offered down there. Biofeedback is a method of having a person get more in touch with their brain. The validation of that for certain conditions, it may not be there, but it's useful in relaxation therapy.
And how do you help the families adjust to help the person that's going through this, because it's very emotional on their end as well.
Yes, for those who have the moderate severe brain injuries, there's VA programs that are there to help. For the ones that are more mild, where the person is having they're getting sense that they're not the person that they were, they need to help the veteran to go to their local VA and help and get the medical attention that they may need to help them to deal better with the symptoms that they've developed.
So if you're listening and you are wanting more information, I want to make sure that Dr. Hoffman has a moment here to give you some ways to do that. I'm guessing there's a website, Doctor?
Yes, the best way to access all the information concerning VA research is www.research.va.gov. That's www.research.va.gov. And that has a whole host of information there, not only on current information on research, but ongoing clinical trials across different conditions.
That is good to know. That you never know. You might have touched somebody right now that will make a big difference in their lives by looking into that. Dr. Hoffman, thank you for being on the show with us today.
And thank you for having me. And I want to thank our veterans for their service and for their enthusiastic support of VA research. Absolutely. That makes these advances possible.
Oh, I love that. All right, we'll be right back.
Medical providers are special, and to look special, they go to Scrub Paradise in Ocala. Located off Easy Street next to Shoe Carnival, Scrub Paradise has a wide selection of top brand scrubs, medical shoes, and accessories. Embroidery is also available. Don't settle for the same boring scrubs. Visit Scrub Paradise today or call 352-873-4368. Your favorite brands are on sale. 352-873-4368. That number again is 352-873-4368.
With a graduate degree in management and leadership from Webster University, there'll never be a better time for you to explore what's next in your career. Classes are scheduled so you can continue your normal workday routine, and the accelerated program means a new term starts about every 10 weeks. If you're looking to gain a broad general management and leadership perspective, then Webster University's Management and Leadership degree program is the right one for you. It's all a part of what's next at Webster University.
Go to webster.edu/manage, accredited by ACBSP.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
Howdy folks, RL here for Dairy Queen Silver Springs. We want to thank Marion County for 45 years of loyalty. We love this wonderful community, so come on down to Dairy Queen Silver Springs and get some of our great food and ice cream. We have a number of great meal deals that include dessert at a better price than anyone in the industry. Our products are made fresh to order, just for you. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
They're going to give it to McBride. He bounces off the left side behind Smith. Stiff arms a guy. Sidesteps. Breaks the tackle. Gets into the end zone. Touchdown.
This Friday night, the Denellen Tigers come to Booster Stadium to take on the Vanguard Knights. Both teams enter this huge district game undefeated. The WOCA High School Football Game of the Week is presented by Warehouse Wireless. Pre-game starts at 7. Kickoff is at 7:30. So join us live right here on WOCA, The Source.
Freddy's Specialty Sundays, classic American treats, made with freshly churned, rich and creamy frozen custard. Welcome to Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back.
So now that you have your heart set on Freddy's, all you need to know is how to get there. That part is easy. Just go down Highway 200 in Ocala east of I-75. Then look for the giant frozen custard cone on the wall.
Attention passengers for Flight 1370. The plane has been delayed at its departure point and will be at least 2 hours late. We apologize for any inconvenience.
Are you serious? It took us over an hour to get here, 2 hours going through security and getting our tickets, and now we have to wait another 2 hours.
Yeah, it's beautiful here, but we're inside this overcrowded airport all day because the plane is stuck in bad weather.
This is the last time we ever do this. When we get back, we're going to WOCA Aviation and getting our pilot's license.
Yeah, we've been talking about that long enough. It's about time we did it. Then we could just fly ourselves and never have to deal with this mess again.
Right. No long lines, no full body groping security, no baggage checks.
Not to mention never losing your luggage. Remind me again why we haven't done that?
Well, we're idiots.
Oh, right.
Attention all passengers for Flight 1370. It looks like the plane is going to be delayed a little bit longer. The airline has lost the pilot's luggage. Isn't it time you got your pilot's license? Call Ocala Aviation today. 352-861-7484. That's 352-861-7484. Hey, you've earned it. Call today. Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.
That's some gentle bumper music right there, huh?
Kidding?
I feel like I want to take a nap or something. So, I was over at my son's house not too long ago, and he and his wife have a little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. This is now September, so 9 months old?
Yeah.
Wow, 9 months already, right?
Yep.
9 months old. And I see him doing what I used to do with him. Isn't it cool to see, like, yourself and your children?
Very cool.
So I see him with his baby on his lap, and he's reading to the baby. Right? I used to do that with Alex, my son.
Yeah.
So it is something that is part of our culture, and it's so important. I just can't express how much I agree with the premise of the next book. It is called How to Raise a Reader.
Yes.
Bless you. Somebody's sneezing here. How to Raise a Reader. Maria Russo is on the phone. She's one of the two authors. The other is Pamela Paul. Am I right?
Yes.
That second name. Maria is a cultural journalist, has been the children's books editor of the New York Times Book Review since 2014. Maria, it's an honor to have you on the show. Good morning, Maria.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New York City.
So,
Nice.
So do you find it, like you hear it all the time, that people who have children who read well had parents who read to them when they were very, very young?
Well, it's true. That's a great way to raise a reader. Reading to your children just builds so many brain connections. It creates a positive association from reading, and it just associates words with comfort, with the parents' presence and their voice and all of that. So that's totally great. But really, you don't have to have been a reader yourself or have been raised in a house with books to raise a reader. There's lots of other things you can do now to help your kids feel comfortable with books. And what we really want is for kids to choose reading, right? We want reading to be something they do from intrinsic motivation, right? Not just because they're getting graded for it at school or because they're getting pressure. We want to take away that pressure and make reading something fun and something that they choose to do.
Do we do anything wrong in general? Like, is using an electronic book like less preferable than an actual physical book or anything like that?
Well, the research is really clear on this. It turns out, yes, it is less preferable. The brain just doesn't absorb information from a screen as well as it absorbs information from the pages of a book.
Really?
It's just a funny thing. So, and that might be why, children's books, there really aren't even that many children's books available in ebooks. And the kids don't really want them. Kids really like that physical book. They like turning the pages. They like holding it. They like carrying. It's really true. So you can't even really find that many ebooks for kids. So that's a good thing. Kids want to hold their book. They want to trade it with their friends. Books go viral among kids in elementary school. Anyone out there with a 10-year-old knows, Wimpy Kid.
Right,
that's a hot ticket.
So glad to hear that. Do we make a mistake by buying little children? Because I did this. I went to the bookstore and I bought one of those books where you could put your hand through a fluffy thing and make it talk.
Yeah.
Those are great. I think those are great. The ones that it's just stuff that's building their motor skills and they just lift the flap and all of that. Those are great. What's maybe not so great is where there's a battery.
Oh,
you're just
right.
needlessly raising the stakes. They don't. The battery's going to break. You're bringing in. They might even overstimulate some babies. Some babies, like a book is stimulating enough. So so I'm all for things you can feel and lift the flap and all of that. Just maybe stay away from the talking books.
And when you have siblings, the younger sibling sometimes looks up to the older sibling because the older sibling is able to read better than the younger sibling. And if the older sibling starts reading out loud to the younger sibling, they're going to have this special bond, and they're both going to fall in love with the books.
Yeah, that is such a great point. One of the ways you can help the intrinsic motivation to read is by making sure that reading seems like something really grown up. It's really like, wow, this is a great thing for you to be doing. And one thing you could do is you could say, well, your bedtime is 7, but if you're reading, you can stay up until 7:30. So reading is associated with being older, being more advanced, and all of that. That really helps to create that positive association.
So when my son was little, I read him a book that, looking back at it, and I actually found it not that long ago, and I brought it to him. He's 33 now. I said, "Remember this book?" It's listen to the title. It's called "How Spider Saved Santa Bug." It has no redeeming message in it. The artwork isn't really all that great, but he loved it. So my question is.
Well, you did a great thing.
Did I? Why? What did I do?
Yes. Well, because, we create emotional bonds with our books when we're children are really powerful. So I bet your son loved seeing that book.
I bet he did too, yeah. But I mean, I guess my question, trying to be a talk show host here, my question is, do we have to look for stories that have a redeeming message? Do they all have to be Aesop's fables?
No, it's, this is a big message we have in the book. Don't be judgy about what your kid wants to read. Let your kid read what he wants to read. Let him read the same book over and over and over again. That's all good for brain development. In fact, repetition is good. Every time they read it, they're getting something different. They're also getting the comfort of that book that they just, for some reason that you can't figure out, because like you say, it could have terrible art, it could be really kind of a dumb story. It doesn't matter. They have some bond with that book. Let them have it. Let them read the same book over and over. And another thing we really need to do is help parents see that graphic novels and visual books are not lesser than books that are all words. Especially now, a lot of parents feel like, oh, I don't want my kid to read comics. Oh, all he'll read is graphic novels, or all she'll read is, Raina Telgemeier's graphic memoirs. That's great. Those are books. Those are literary.
Oh, I like
Just because they're using that they're using their visual brain to read, that's just as powerful as the word part. They work together. That's the left brain and the right brain working together. You want to encourage that. Don't be judgy about your kids' graphic novels.
And sometimes parents will discover that their child does have a certain challenge, dyslexia being one, and that's why they refuse to read. But if the parents know about that challenge, they'll be able to help their children overcome that.
It's really true. Some dyslexic kids go on to become really strong readers. Lots of writers are dyslexic, it turns out. Dave Pilkey, the author of the Dog Man books and Captain Underpants and lots of other picture books.
Captain Underpants.
He grew up with ADHD. The Captain Underpants is great. Don't knock Captain Underpants.
No, I don't. I love Captain Underpants. Don't worry.
It's so good.
Yeah, we spoke.
Yeah, well, he grew up with ADHD and dyslexia, and he was just forced to sit out in the hallway. It was a different time. He wrote those books for kids like that, for them to understand that, you can still read, you can still do well in school. You just have to kind of find your own way through.
I know we're pushed for time, but real quickly, I wanted to hear your thoughts on Amazon versus the bookstore, especially the bookstore that has a children's section. I just think when you see children in there, I mean, they're like they're at the North Pole with Santa Claus right then, right?
No, it's so true. And another thing bookstores have is people to help you. The employees, the people who work in bookstores really know books, and they really can help you find a book that's right for your kid. So talk to them. Talk to your bookstore employees. Talk to librarians. Get help when you're looking for the right book for your kid. And also with bookstores, coffee. What a great thing.
Yes.
You're with a baby all day. You can go somewhere. You can browse through books. Your kid can, check out the board books, and you can get a coffee. You can get books into your life that way by stopping at the bookstore.
It is a great way to connect with a child because guess what? The books, the coffee, and they have chocolate chip cookies in that coffee shop too.
It's true.
Marie, you're fun. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you so much.
You're doing really well. You're number one in several different categories. I want to recommend Amazon, but also go to the bookstore. Do you have a website you'd like to recommend?
I will say that Barnes & Noble has a special edition of the book with a free poster by one of our amazing artists.
A poster, all right.
Illustrated the book, Vera Broskal. So if you have a kid between 8 and 12, Barnes & Noble might be the way to go because this poster is really cool.
And P.S., if you are listening and you call me right now, we have one. I'll pick a caller at random, and it'll be here for you at the radio station. Maria Russo, thank you so much. Thank Pamela for us as well.
I will. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Times of sun and clouds on this Tuesday with a high in the upper 80s along the coast, about 93 inland, and partly cloudy Tuesday night, lower 70s inland, mid to upper 70s along the coast. For Wednesday, partly sunny and becoming breezy in the afternoon with a shower in spots near the coast, but dry inland, high 86 on the coast, 90 inland. Thursday, intervals of clouds and sunshine. It'll be breezy at times later in the day, along with a shower or thunderstorm, high 86 on the coast, near 90 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Keep up with what's going on in the downtown area with Ocala Downtown Newspaper. Delivering thousands of newspapers to businesses in the downtown area, Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. For more info, just call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223, and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
And now read Ocala Downtown Newspaper online.
Hey folks, there's a great new ad this week from Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, and some of the closeout prices are almost unbelievable. You gotta see it for yourself. A few examples: Bob Wine's has fruit trees including plum, mulberry, and figs, regularly $49.99 for just $10. More fruit trees including guava, kiwi, and grapes, they're regularly $24.99, just $5 each. Citrus trees from $69, they're all buy one and get one at half